the mountain is chaotic and then they can enjoy. I want to appeal to our people, wherever they are. Even leaders have told them, because this criminal gang, after the Limuru attack, they have started reaching out to leaders. Please, we can offer you protection. That is what they wanted. So that we have a situation where, for you to go to a meeting now, the state has absconded responsibility of its role to protect citizens, and now you are leaving leaders to look for criminal gangs to protect themselves. Like if I want to go somewhere now myself, I say, because what happened to Limuru can happen, let me also look for other gangsters to protect me. And then you set people against each other. That is a situation that should never happen, and I want to caution the government to be very careful. When those criminals were brought in the 90s, they developed into something that was very problematic. Rooting them out was a very painful and costly affair. Whoever has sat down and decided that you want to engage these criminal gangs to manage politics in the region, you are courting disaster, and you are starting something that you cannot stop.
I don't mean to cut you short, but you served in government for 2 years,
yes,
Honorable Gachagua.
Yes.
And this, as you're saying, is something that the state has done. Is it something that the state has started doing?
No, that thing happened.
That thing, under your tenure.
Under our tenure, it has never happened. We are very clear that we cannot allow criminal gangs to take over this country. You cannot allow criminal gangs to go to disrupt meetings and attack leaders and do nothing about it, because you are creating a situation of lawlessness.
But it was
these gangs were there. They were introduced in the 90s during the clamor for multipartyism to deal with those who are clamoring for a multi-party state. And they developed into a very big problem going forward. And dealing with it was a very costly affair. From what I can see, and what I saw in Limuru, and what had been organized in Nakuru and in Molo, some people in government have sat down and decided that they want to use criminal gangs to manage politics, disrupt meetings, scare leaders. Like now, they really destroyed vehicles belonging to members of parliament so that leaders are scared of going to meetings. Again, is a way of stifling dissent, because I think leaders who move around with me are very vocal about things that are not right in this country. And I think this is a way of trying to scare leaders. But I can tell you, that is not a situation that can go for long, because members of public will not allow it. And members of public will organize themselves, and they all say no. In fact, the people of Limuru are saying, had we known that this gang was coming, because they were all outsiders, none came from that area. The people of Limuru are crying that they did not have information. They say they would have dealt with those characters.
We need to take this
so we want the state to take over security, secure all meetings, stop using criminal gangs, and arrest those characters, because from the social media, from the videos, these characters are clearly defined and they are known, and people are even putting names to them because they know them. None has been arrested. Instead, they want to harass the senator for Kiambu, Karungo Thangwa. Karungo Thangwa was a victim. I came with him. We came in the same convoy. He was attacked. His vehicle was attacked. And after the incident, he went to DCI headquarters to report this incident. They refused to listen to him. At 10 p.m. at night, they wrote him a letter summoning him to go to Nyeri. The crime happened in Limuru, in Kiambu. They are asking him to go to Nyeri. Yet, the local member of parliament, Mr. Kirago, recorded a statement at DCI headquarters. Why are you calling the senator of Kiambu to go all the way to Nyeri, yet the crime happened in Limuru?
Fair enough. You made your point, Your Excellency, and we need to take this conversation forward. But perhaps the last question about this political intolerance. This culture did not just start. Last year, when you were sitting squarely in office, and when the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition was running protests in the country, at instances in which you led the country because the president was out of the country at this particular time, we saw gangs, we saw people carrying sticks in the streets of Nairobi intending to deal with protesters who are democratically protesting. So is it that it sounds too harsh now that the heat is on you?
Let me correct you. That did not happen during the first protest of Azimio. That happened, the one for people carrying sticks happened during the Gen Z protests.
Even during the Azimio protests, we had people in the name of business, people protecting their places.
Let me say, during the Azimio protests, because at one time or another the president was out of the country, and I was quite clear in my mind with our security apparatus that we must protect the CBD. Yeah, but the protests outside the CBD took on because the right to protest is enshrined in the Constitution. But destruction of property in the CBD is what we stopped successfully, and it did not take place because, you know, this is a country of rule of law, and the work of a government is to protect life and property. You protect both lives and you also protect property. So what I do remember myself at that time, when the president was out of the country and I was left, is that we made sure that the property around CBD is protected. I have been very clear in this administration that we can never use criminal gangs to manage politics, to manage security, because it's not sustainable.
All right.
You create a monster that you cannot control, because after the event you have called those fellows to perform. What happens after that? They run amok, and since they feel that they have government protection, they operate with a lot of impunity. And that is a situation that one cannot control. Yes.
Your point is home, and we need to move on from this conversation. And Your Excellency, let's speak about a topic that many Kenyans right now want you to speak candidly about. And these are some of the policies and decisions taken by the Kenya Kwanza regime in the past 2 years. You are on record before you left office in an interview with Citizen TV and in an interview with Vernacular, a Kalenjin station, stating that you knew nothing about Kenya's deal with Adani Group, be it JKIA and every other involved entity. You are on record after you were impeached in a church at AIPCA to say that you advised President William Ruto not to get into the Adani deal. One Gachagua who said, I was not aware, I was reading about this in the papers. The next Gachagua says, I advised the president.
I think you have listened to my address to the Kalenjin nation in piecemeal. If you listened to the whole speech, I said I know nothing about it in terms of I was not involved in the formulation of that policy. I was not involved in its implementation. That is what I meant I know nothing about it. Because if you are not, I was in government, I was deputy president, but I was not involved in the Adani deal to that extent. I went ahead to say, but Kenyans are opposed to it. Kenyans are speaking against it, and therefore I am against it. At that time, because I was in office, you know, there is what you call the principle of collective responsibility. I was still the deputy president, President William Ruto. So there are certain things then I could not say, yeah, because I was still his deputy. There is still that, you know, relationship. But later on, I have now the opportunity to say what I need to say. You know, I have many things I can say now, you know, but that time I was giving what I needed to give. And I said I was clearly, that matter did not come before the cabinet committee that I chair. It went straight to cabinet.
Were you in cabinet when it came to cabinet?
Yes, I was.
What discussions were there about Adani?
I cannot give discussions in cabinet because I'm still bound by the Official Secrets Act. I wouldn't diverge in detail as to what happened in cabinet because that would be irresponsible on my part. But what I can say is that I was opposed to it. And at my own time, privately, I was able to sit with the president and say this is not right. It's a rip-off to the people of Kenya. It is not tenable. And also, because I was elected, in our administration, I was the lone voice that would tell the president what anybody else cannot tell him. Because as an elected leader, you interact with the people. I also have serious political networks that are independent from the president that talk to me daily so that I get